All right, good morning and welcome to Section 8 Consulting. Today we're going to be talking about how to get Section 8 immediately and those Section 8 secrets revealed. I love that part about Section 8 secrets revealed. As a consultant, that's part of my job is revealing many of the things that really aren't a secret, but rather just good education and understanding that system that a lot of you are trying to navigate. So let me throw this out of here. Now, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and put up a timer real quick. That way we can make sure I don't get too long-winded and make a long video. All right, so let's go over some core factors. But before I do that, I'm going to do a few introductions. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com. I work with around 700 to 1,000 clients a year. Most people know me widely across YouTube, TikTok, but also Google. I'm ranked as #1 consultant in the country. I don't really think there's a close second to me. And we've been published in all those different things with different news agencies and so on. So I don't think my reputation's in dispute. But all right, so as you know, we worked really, really hard through this pandemic to help people. And I think the immediate need is what we're all trying to address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you facts. These are not intended to be tips and tricks. I don't do videos like that. This is my job, and this is what I do. So the first thing is I want to address what many of you widely don't know, and some may not, but I want to kind of tell you all about it. One of the fastest ways to get housing vouchers would be through Continuum of Care housing. Now, it does have a particular emphasis on those that are homeless, but a lot of you believe that you have to be relegated as a person that's under a bridge or in a homeless shelter. You do not, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this. This is from HUD Exchange, and so they have Continuum of Cares in every single state in America, and they also have them in virtually every county. And so the Housing Authority is not the only place that issues vouchers. So let's look at the core intent behind the Continuum of Care, and I'm going to move this around a little bit. The Continuum of Care is a program designed to promote community-wide commitment to the goal of ending homelessness. And then, of course, they do private funding for nonprofits, state and local governments to quickly rehouse homeless individuals. But the questionability of this, as I use it for many of my clients, is it provides emergency housing vouchers. It's the same thing as the Housing Authority, but the relegated difference would be that you're able to get this in probably 30 to 60 days. Now, it's a bit of a process because you've got to know what these people want to hear and have the right answers. But one thing I want to tell you is that, if you are struggling to pay rent and you're about to be put out, if you're being evicted, if you're staying with friends, all these things equate back to being homeless. And anybody can become homeless. Anybody can be imminently homeless. So let's just not talk about real homeless people. So this program fits a lot of you that don't even think that it fits. I got people call me every day, Jay, I'm one nickel and one paycheck away from losing this apartment that I can't even afford, and I'm probably going to be out, I have to leave within a month. Hey, that's imminent homelessness. So you guys need to think about this. You're sitting out here on a 15-year waiting list at the Housing Authority. Why are you not picking it up through the Continuum of Care or COC program? This is a housing first program. So you want something immediate? Let's talk about what immediate is, an emergency. Immediate is when you can get something like this in 30 to 60 days. Now, those of you that are under the delusion, you're going to drive down the Housing Authority. Hey, you know what? Life stuff right now. Go ahead and print me out a voucher. That ain't never going to happen. Those people laugh you out the door and hang up on you if you call them. Look, that stuff takes a long time. For a lot of my clients, when I deal with housing authorities, we have to address housing authorities, multitudes of them across the state. And so we'll get into that in a minute. So I'm going to link this up, Continuum of Care, so you understand that. Who to contact. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is PHAs, which is Public Housing Authorities. No affiliation from HUD. So I'm going to give that basic lesson. I give a lot of my videos. Congress and the president decide who's going to get money. They hand that money down to HUD. HUD does not give you vouchers. HUD does not give you housing. HUD administers the fund and disperses it to all the PHAs. Public Housing Authorities, all right? And from there you get vouchers, but they also disperse money to Continuum of Care. So all the COCs, all PHAs right here. These are two federal databases that'll give you everything you need, right? And then next up, the federal subsidy or subsidized property. So not just dealing with emergency housing voucher, EHVs through COC, or emergency vouchers through the Housing Authority. You also have subsidies. It doesn't require emergency. These are properties that are subsidized under tax credits. You apply, you meet your income and age ratio, and then they subsidize the rent. In other words, you're renting, but you're renting at a discount, okay? Subsidies are found through Affordable Housing Online and many other resources. But, Affordable Housing Online has been merged with Go Section 8. So Affordable Housing Online did a better job. These guys are federal subcontractors of the United States government. So I can tell you that almost every property here has already been pre-approved. There's no skipping around Google wondering whether or not somebody's simply marketing a property, saying they're affordable housing and low income, but the reality is they're not. You see? Saves you time. So we'll link that up. One of the tools in the arsenal, and as a consultant that's been doing this 21 years, one of the things you need to keep, you've got to do is weaponize your case. And what I mean by weaponize is simply this. You need to understand more than you having the ability to pick up a telephone and expecting that angry housing authority employee that may or may not answer the phone or even return your calls to teach you everything you know. They're not going to do that. Their only job is to assess, read the application, determine whether you get something. And like a lot of things in this world, when you're woefully unprepared and you put a bunch of silly answers in there thinking your empathy or sympathy story is going to earn you a top spot on that voucher list, you're completely out your mind. It doesn't work that way. So then you need to understand the rules in which you play by. Now, if the housing authorities and HUD have been doing this for 60 to 80 years, they've figured out some pretty egregious ways to prevent people from getting vouchers, simply by making the rules tougher. So, how do you arm your case? You arm it by understanding Code of Federal Regulation. Title 24. Look at all those beautiful answers in there. Big read, okay? So you want to understand it, you need to know more than the worker does. If you understand those things, then you don't have to accept a lot of the ridiculous answers you get from these workers, because they'll say anything on the phone, but ask them to email you that condescending answer they gave you on the phone. Ask them to email it, they won't do it. And so they say all kinds of things on the phone they probably shouldn't, and then that's how it goes. Moving on from that, another one you should look into is 7420.10G. This is the voucher program guidebook for housing choice. It's a gorgeous 475 pages. Next up, we're going to go to Public Housing Occupancy Guide. It's a lovely 235 pages. And then next up, we're going to go to Housing Handbooks, 1060.3, 22, 26.1, and so on. Look, if you don't know what's going on, you need to figure it out, honey. It's not about just, and I don't mean honey, okay? What I mean is you need to understand, if you're going to play a rigged game, you better play to win. And depending on the same person that doesn't care to teach you how to get them fired or give you a voucher is a terrible idea. And that's what many of you do.